Hey guys, so I just discovered this No Nut November thing, and I was just starting to participate in No Shave November. So this is me after, actually, I shaved technically on the second, not on the first or the 31st. So I cheated already, but that means I'm late. So I gave myself a handicap because my face, this hair, it grows like none other. Anyway, so No Nut November, guys. Wow. This is a new one. I didn't know this existed, but it's really interesting. And I watched Paul Joseph Watson's video on it.
As expected, the mere prospect of young men involving themselves in a like-minded community or simply enjoying a meme caused panic amongst a deluge of degenerate cumbrains.
Instead of participating in No Nut November, abstain from racism, misogyny, homophobia, reading forums that provide inaccurate puritanical information about masturbation that perpetuate moral panic about sexuality.
Okay, Kuma.
I was very curious as to what are the benefits coming out of this going to be, because I already know, thanks to an interesting book I read when I was in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s. When I was, like 21 or something. I hope my family's not watching this video. I really don't want them to see this. But I've got this book. And I forget. I mean, look at that grin, guys. Look at that grin. Okay, just, you know what I mean? It's a really interesting book, and I forget who recommended it. It was someone like, someone I look up to, like Joe Rogan or something. It wasn't Joe Rogan, but it was some guy that was talking about how it's not just females that can basically have multiple orgasms back to back to back. Men can do it too. The difference is that there's actually two kinds of orgasms for a man, and chances are you've probably had one of these orgasms where you mentally kind of hit a plateau, and basically it's like economies of scale, where it's like you go up and then you like sag down a bit, and then you go up again, you hit a new plateau, and you hit a new plateau, and you hit a new plateau. And if you've had those, they are enjoyable, but you don't actually ejaculate. And It's pretty interesting because in this book, they actually go into some like ancient dogma of Taoism and Buddhism and stuff. And it's actually pretty interesting. And the philosophy is pretty interesting. I'm going to read some excerpts from this book. I want to share some of this because I think it's actually pretty profound. So, here's a section near the beginning, and I'm definitely not going to go into most of this book because about half of this book is interesting, and the other half I never even got to, never even read it. But here's a section called Progeny and Pleasure. At the bottom of the first paragraph, it says, in the Taoist practice, this energy is used to improve health, creativity, and spiritual growth, and that's talking specifically. Actually about cum. Basically, what they believe is that the sperm of a male actually holds your sexual energy. And when you release it, you lose a lot of energy. And just think about for a moment, every time you come with a woman, a real person, you typically are like really fatigued for a little while. You definitely lose a lot of energy, and furthermore, even if you're cooming, you still lose a lot of energy. Okay, and so some of the interesting stuff here. Here's a section called Your Energy. Understanding how the energy in your body works will allow you to expand genital orgasms into whole body orgasms and to use your sexual energy to improve your creativity and health. As we mentioned in the introduction, sexual kung fu developed as a branch of Chinese medicine, period. That's not who wrote this book. One of the world's oldest and most effective healing systems, Chinese medicine, is responsible for the discovery of such successfully proven therapies as acupuncture and acupressure. According to Chinese medicine, in addition to the physical structures of your body, we also have physical energy that is constantly circulating through every cell of your body. Okay, I'm going to skip quite a few interesting sections here, like the microcosmic orbit. That seems a little funky. But here we go. So here's a section I really want to share with you guys. So here's a couple of parts here. We're talking about energy channels now, okay? And how there's the energy you have as a male, the sexual energy, the libido is the word in the West that we like to use to describe that, is really important, and constantly releasing it is a good way of making yourself basically like a beta. Like you're giving away your most powerful energy source regularly, and you're gonna make yourself weak, especially weak-minded. I mean, listen to this song.
I used to use my brain before. My prefrontal cortex been thrown out the door. 'Cause every day I need to keep cool, man.
I mean, right? All right, so I'm just going to read this section on sexual energy, just one or two paragraphs, because I think it is really profound. And then I'm going to just kind of paraphrase some other sections of this book that I remember from literally almost a decade ago now, that I remember really thinking is quite interesting and something that you should remember. All right, so sexual energy, or qing qi, or qi in Chinese, is one of the most obvious and powerful types of bioelectrical energy. What we in the West call getting aroused or getting horny, the Taoists thought as the generating of sexual energy. Sexual kung fu practices are based on cultivating the sexual energy and using it to increase your overall energy and health. You must learn to draw your sexual energy out of your balls. It doesn't actually say balls, it says genitals, of course, but out of your genitals to circulate it through the rest of your body to truly master Taoist techniques for experiencing multiple and whole body orgasms for improving your health. As we mentioned in Chapter 1, according to the Taoists, all the parts of your body give their best energy during orgasm to create new life. This is the power that goes into creating a child, but when procreation is not the goal, the Taoists believe it is best to conserve this energy and channel it through your whole body for enhanced pleasure and health. Once you develop the ability to circulate sexual energy through your body, you will be able to feel the sensation throughout your body, anywhere and at any time. Senior healing Tao instructor William Wynn explains sexual energy is available to men 24 hours a day, but most men starve themselves because they believe they can satisfy themselves sexually only during a few minutes of intercourse. The most liberating thing for men is to discover that they have total access to and control over their sexual energy at any time. You must be wondering whether all this sexual energy will result in the feeling constantly aroused and in needing to have sex, an itch that needs to be scratched, in other words. On the contrary, men and women have sexual urges that need to be acted on or channeled in some way. In the West, we have tried to suppress or sublimate these desires, but according to the Tao, this leads to physical and psychological imbalances. Okay, so I'm just gonna, there's a whole section on arousal, stages of arousal, yada, 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 but basically, it's really interesting about, you can actually, this did help me have a better sex life. I'm not joking on that one. Basically what it did was help your brain decipher where you are and how to not prematurely cum, and also basically just enjoy the whole process more, I guess. But basically, here's the most important tidbit about this that is going to tie hand in hand with this No Nut November. Basically what it says is the sexual energy that men have is very powerful. Their libido, on average, is actually stronger than women. And for that reason, if you hold on to it rather than basically throw it away all the time, you can channel that energy to do great things. And for some proof of this, rather than just talk about some crazy old ancient ideas that have no proof, there actually is some proof in this. If you look into basically all MMA fighters, boxers, martial artists, and performance artists as well, the vast majority of the coaches in those industries will tell the athletes, do not have sex or orgasm, do not climax, just don't have, basically don't come. Don't cum for 2 days before the whatever big event they're doing, because that energy is making a difference in fighters, and it has for a long time. Apparently this is something that was learned actually not that long ago by Westerners, like something in like the 50s and 60s. It was kind of discovered during the whole sex movement or something. So it's kind of a new thing. So I find it really interesting, and I also find it very interesting that Islam has basically made pornography illegal, even though we all know that the rulers within Islamic countries typically are gluttons for punishment. They are evil men that have typically sex slaves, dungeons, yada yada. I'm not going to go into the dark rabbit hole there, but basically the majority of those countries don't encourage this porn addiction lifestyle that the West has, and for that reason, I think the men in those countries are more dominant. They are. I mean, look at how many babies they have. Look at how many laws that they've been willing to pass into law, and look at how they have been willing to subjugate their women by law. So my point there is simply like the men there are very dominant still. And in the West, we have bowed down to the power of women and females primarily, and obviously that is having devastating results. Women are destroying our countries right now because they are in power. They have voting rights, and many of them have come into political office, and they are just they've opened the doors for all the world to come in and exploit us, tax slaves, and we are slaves. Don't kid yourself. If you need some more evidence on that, please watch Stefan Molyneux's great video called "The Story of Your Enslavement." It's great. Anyway, I don't want to go down too many rabbit holes here, but I do believe that if more men in the West stopped their porn addictions, stopped watching porn, stopped cooming, what you'd see is a generation of stronger men, literally. So let that resonate with you. Let yourself think about that, honestly. Yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on the subject, guys. And I'm a married man now, so I don't have to participate in No Cum November because it would suck for my wife. But what I can say is that I will participate in it to the extent of pornography and coming away from my wife. So if I cheat, I will change my Twitter page picture to the cum guy, whatever he is. So keep an eye out. I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing it. I'm joining the ranks with you guys. So wish me good luck, because I'm not perfect. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hey, do you like this kind of content? If you do, please consider supporting me on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can join my online community. Every Thursday night, we get together on my private Discord server, and we talk politics, news, and most importantly, how to create the change we want to see in politics and our society in a civil manner. If you don't already know any conservatives in your area, maybe a little bit like me, because, well, I live behind enemy lines in the Socialist Republic of California, then you might want to look for some friends to talk to about these ideas that you have swimming in your head. So it's really a great community that I'm just building right now. So even though my community here on YouTube isn't very big, it really doesn't matter how large the followership is, but how active the individuals are when it comes to creating real change, which is why I made this channel. It has nothing to do with profiting necessarily. It has everything to do with creating the change that I want to see in the world and in this country. So, if you'd like to create this kind of change, please consider spending $120 over the next 12 months, starting in November 2019 to November 2020, the next election year, on your favorite content producers that are conservative, because, well, we need a little help. We don't have the infrastructure that CNN, MSNBC, and you name it has. See, they get money from Daddy Warbucks, George Soros. So they don't really need to be catering to any particular audience. They can just sell the propaganda that they need to sell, and they get paid, no matter who's watching, and whether they like it or not. So if you like this, please, please, please consider investing in not just my future, but yours. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.
I used to be a happy boy, filled with dopamine and joy. But now I'm just a crusty, dirty cool man. I haven't cleaned my room in weeks. All I do is beat my meat.